A very good evening to all our viewers, and welcome to today's edition of the Evening Review. It's our first edition of this week. My name is Tewen Jabela, your host. Let's have a look at today's headlines in Namibian Sun. Today in studio, we are joined by Petersen Kambinda. He's Commander-in-Chief of the newly established Namibia Revolutionary Transport Union, NARETU, which was launched in Windhoek this morning. And he is here to talk to us about those new developments in the trade movement space. Petersen, welcome to the show.
Welcome to you.
Thank you. Tell us where the idea of NARETU came from, especially did you identify a gap of some sort in the trade union space, especially when it comes to logistics and transport, or how did the idea come about?
Yeah, no, thank you to Ivo, and thank you also to the viewers, and thank you that we are being hosted on a progressive group platform like this one. Yeah, the idea actually is the colleagues or the comrades in the transport and logistics, they have been heavily exploited 31 years after independence. And themselves, they are the one who, after they have seen some of the work which we have done while we have been serving in the structures of mine workers of Namibia, then they approached us that colleagues, we are being exploited. Actually, when it came, it was just only they wanted to seek for advice. And this advice, we tried to assist them and tell them that what they were supposed to be able to do. And then after looking at all angles, then they realized that no, then it's the time we started having the discussions that no, we needed to be able to form a union, and which they, especially the truck drivers themselves, they are the people who had been behind the formation of this union. And then us, it is just only that the truck had already been standing idling, and then us was just only to come in to be the driver of this new union.
Indeed. What are the main issues in that sector that your union is likely to start addressing?
You see, this sector, the main things which people you find there, number one, I can be able to tell you that we have been receiving people coming to us, working for a company, let me say, for the past 10 years. But this employee have never seen how a payslip looks like unless he go to another someone. These people, you will be able to see that they don't have employment contracts. All what they have is verbal contracts with their employers. And other thing also is that these employees, you will be able to find that they get dismissed by word of mouth, not even following the natural justice for these people. So all these type of issues, some of the things which have been making them to start feeling as like they are living in a foreign country while they are in their own country. They are being mistreated and being exploited so heavily that at the end, that's why you see even that one of that the most important word into that in our name is revolutionary. That people are saying enough is enough now. From here, we are saying enough, and then we want to start a new chapter going forward, whereby we are also going to be seen as employees, not just being called as a truck driver, and they are just being treated as like the way a person is treating the truck. Yes.
Indeed. So we already have quite a number of unions in that space, transport and allied workers unions in that space. What will separate you from the pack? What is it that makes you different from the rest?
Number one, I can be able to say is that the previous colleagues, if you look at the background of the unions which we are currently having, especially in the transport sector, you will be able to see, and let me maybe just put it on a record that we have also been surprised when we started the recruitment that we noticed that almost 95% of the truck drivers or the people within the transport and logistics are unorganized people. So they don't belong to any union. So that demonstrates already that the employees in the transport, and all of them, what they are even telling us is that we used to belong to unions, but union did not address our issues. That is why we rather decided just to be on our own. Now, fast forward, we could be able to say that what will be able to differentiate between ourselves and our comrades, which are also in this sector, is that some of the comrades lost vision, and this why they lost vision and why they are not executing their constitutional rights is some of them have political ambitions, and these unions they tend to say that it is better to dance to the tunes sometimes of the politicians and all that, and then in that process then they neglect their duty, because in a union there is only two ways which you need just to choose. Either you have to be able to dance to the tune of the people which you are serving, or to dance to the tune of the people which you were supposed to guard against. So that is the unfortunate thing. Now from our side, that's why that from our side is that we would like just only to concentrate on serving our members instead of having this political ambitions and all of those things which might be able later take us away from our direction.
Yeah, you spoke at your launch today about your non-affiliation to political parties. Obviously, you have previously served for Mine Workers Union of Namibia in the south, which is of course an affiliate of the ruling party through NUNW. What did you experience back then in terms of being a politically affiliated union? What were some of the impediments that sort of, if any, that sort of stood in your way to do really your work without being reprimanded by your comrades and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Or was it a common occurrence that somehow once you pronounce yourself in a particular way, you'd have your political comrades, trying to call you to order and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, to belong to a union, let me say, Mine Workers Union of Namibia, it is one of the strongest union in the country, which it continues to serve its members to its best of ability. And while we were there, and any union will always be able to have some challenges and all of that. And as you have just rightfully said, that sometimes when you have an affiliation or a code, that umbilical code, especially the political code, there is some sort of agreements which you need to be able to fulfill. And sometimes those type of arrangements, sometimes you will be able to find yourself in, you need to be able to choose between either the umbilical cord, the parent side or the kid side. So always that becomes a challenge. But with this currently now, why we have even also opted that we do not want to have a political umbilical cord, is that currently as we speak, our members, they are coming from all political parties in the country. And should we be able to affiliate, then it becomes a challenge that some of those members which we have recruited, then they are going to be asking us, because the formation of any organization is very important, because those other union like Mine Workers Union of Namibia and other unions, let me say, which are affiliated, for example, to NUNW, they were formed out of the ruling party. And it is just a right for them to be able to affiliate. But then this one, it had been also, it is formation, it's formed according to the general. We can be able to say that it's general, it's accommodating each and everyone irrespective of your political affiliation. So that is one important thing which have to be noted.
You are entering a space that is very dead. The trade union movement in the country is dead in so many ways. It used to be very alive. If you go to the archives and see how workers stood up as a movement maybe in the late 80s and early 90s. And then, of course, the SWAPO affiliated unions dominated that space, and a lot of them had this agreement with SWAPO that somehow their leaders must go to parliament, and they seem to have started, chickening out and being really soft on the ruling party and government, while the exploitation of workers in the country, not necessarily by government, by employers of all kinds, actually continued. Is NARETU the kind of union that is ready to revive that kind of spirit where people can really take on employers and even the government itself if certain promises or rights of employees are not fulfilled?
Yeah, the only thing which will be able to stand on the way of NARETU not fulfilling its aims and objectives and fulfilling its mandate, and without fear or contradiction that we will be able to do that. The only thing which can stand on that way is only death.
Yeah.
It's only that one which can be able to let us not fulfill our mandate.
Yeah.
But should we not be able, let me say, God willingly that He give us life to live, we are going to bring hygiene.
Yeah.
We are going to bring hygiene in the space of trade unions. Because currently I can be able to say that as trade unionists, we have really brought a lot of debt in this space. And it is time that we need to be able to bring that hygiene. It is time, because currently now, you will be able to say, even if you find a certain member out there, members, unions had been giving T-shirts and all that to their members, but you find people hardly wearing their unions proudly going into public. Why? Because people are ashamed to be identified that you belong to a certain union. But what we want to do here is that if God willingly things goes well by end of this year, you will be able to see that when you are walking around here in town in Windhoek or any other town in the country, you will be able to see people, even members or non-members of NARETU, would want to be able to be wearing or putting on the attires of NARETU. Because of what? Because of what we are going to be able to do.
One of the issues that you guys may want to look into, and I'm saying this because I think a week ago I received a call from a truck driver in Zambezi region. He was representing a group of others who are saying that there's this issue of way bridges where you are driving from far away, maybe DRC, Lusaka, wherever. By the time you arrive at the way bridges, or weight bridges, whatever they're called, sorry for that, sometimes it's too late. So there's no one at those way bridges. And if they proceed without having their trucks going through that process, at the next stop, they will be issued with tickets because they might be carrying more weight than allowed, and there's no way to verify that because they don't have any papers from the last way bridge. And that is problematic. And they are being issued with these tickets in their own personal capacities and not as not their employers. So I'm passing that point just to you. I'm not asking you to make a comment on that, but I think it's one of the things that you may want to look into going forward. Petersen, let's wish you well for your organization, but I want to venture into a different subject quickly. I think it was in January this year. You and others, but your face was the most recognizable there when you rallied in Rundu, where the governor of Kavango East had employed an advisor of Chinese descent, and you were opposed to that. So while I have you here, I cannot let you go without having to discuss it briefly with you. What was your concern? Because Mr. Charlie Shi, or whatever, sorry, I can't pronounce the surname, is now considered a Namibian citizen. And by law, him and you are now both Namibians with equal rights to anything that Petersen can enjoy, the Charlie guy can also enjoy. Why did you not sort of consider that his right as a Namibian now?
Yeah, no, thank you to you for bringing that topic, which at this stage we can almost be able to call it that it's a closed case.
Yeah.
But since you are in the business of bringing that one up, I would be able to respond it in this manner that Kavango East region, as we speak now, I believe that the capacity is there for us to be able to have a person to be able to advise our governor successfully, because we don't lack capacity. And we believe also that a position to be exclusive advisor and also to be a chairperson of the Kavango East Development Forum, I don't think that we will be able to, history will be able to judge us fairly if we are going to be able to look for some people which are not even people from the region to be able to start off with, to be able to advise our governor. We believe that investors, they can always be able to come through, but we cannot be able to make the investor now arrive, and then it's more or less why the people took it that way. And even though that myself, I was part of like the face of it is that people took it, it's just as like in your own house, a person comes in, because when you go marry into a house, you don't go become the head of that house. You have just only married into that house. The same also with an investor. Investor, you can have as much money as you want, but when you come into the house, irrespective of how that person is, that person you need to still respect them, that they are still the owner of the house. And still, with the Kavango East people, when they stood up, they stood up to say that if we were not having the capacity, is something else. But having the capacity, if you look even in here, there is already people, successful people running bigger companies here in Namibia, and even in Rundu itself, there is a lot of people which are having serious business there, which we believe that they can still be able to champion the development of Kavango, so that there is really no need of bringing a chincho to come and run our development there. They can come and invest, but not to come run the show for us.
So that is the kind of energy that even members of your union can expect, because that was a success for you to have stood up and the governor changed his mind. Is that kind of the revolutionary spirit that we can expect from NARETU?
Yeah, from NARETU, all what you can be able to expect is that without, we are not going to be apologetic for demanding and fighting for economic freedom for our people. Because where we are currently is, I can even give you a scenario now, is that there is an employee even 2 days ago who called me, have been working for a company for the past 12 years. This employee does not have a pay slip, does not have what? He went last week, Wednesday, to the bank, and then he wanted to go ask the bank that either if he can be able to get a loan and all of that. The bank turned him down, and they asked him that go bring for us an employment contract and a pay slip. Now this employee, when he went to the employer told him that why in the past 12 years you have never asked me this. Now you see the arrogancy into this, because it is each and every employer's responsibility when you are recruiting people that you need to provide certain things. And as we speak, even the government, I can also be able to tell you that the government is really going to benefit through the revolutionary work of NARETU. How? Because there is a lot of companies which are paying their employees through e-wallet and easy wallets. So the government is not getting tax from these employees or from that company. So all of these things, it is things which we really need to be able to go address on. And demanding this economic freedom for our people, we are not going to be apologetic about it. And those one who have to be able to stand on to our way, unfortunately, it is tough luck for them.
The final question then, Petersen, is your union is in the transport and logistics space, or transport logistics space, and I'm in your region. there are exciting developments there of oil exploration. Exciting, of course, for some people. There are those that are opposed to it. And obviously, your union, if commercial oil is found in Kavango East, obviously there'll be a lot of transportation and logistics in that space. Give us your general attitude as NARETU. What is your take on that project? Are you for it or against it?
You see, as for the project of the one which the exploration is happening at Kawe, personally, I think it could be able to be a good project to such an extent that if oil is found, it could be a very good project. But then the problem comes. There is a good thing about it and there is a bad thing about it. The good thing about it is that it will be able really to be able to put our country out there for oil and all of those things, and it will create a massive employment opportunities for our people. That will be a very good thing. But then the bad thing I have sensed so far, personally, is that sometimes when the investors are coming into the country, you must know that, let me say, we have oil and then they have money. That makes us equal partners.
Yeah.
But then the problem which we find ourselves in our country, especially Namibia, is that you will find the investors dictating much on the terms and conditions. What does that mean? You give already an upper hand to the investor. It's supposed not to be that way, because that investor, even though they have a lot of money, it does not make them superior to us. Because as we have the resources, they can have the money and they want that money to be able to multiply or whatsoever way it is. And then us, we want employment. So what we need to be doing is that we need to be able to look at it that we are equal partners. Now, equal partners is that one of the serious conditions, considering especially this company which is coming, that it have already some bad track history where it is coming from. We were supposed to be able to set our terms and conditions to say that, yes, you can be able to come and invest in our country. But then our number one point term is that whereby our environment must not be destroyed. It must not be able to be harmed in any way. So go to such an extent, because this company, we were not supposed to be receiving it just like that and with all smiles and all that. But we were supposed to be telling them that, look, on this oil, what we want is that you need to prove us beyond reasonable doubt, whereby we don't need to doubt that you are going to be destroying our environment. So this is something which our government or our representative which are dealing with this investor, those are some of the things which they were supposed to be looking at. But we must not just go into this relationship blindly and then just for the sake of an investor coming into our country. No, we're supposed not to be looking at into that one. But just lastly is my space. It is a transport and logistics.
Yes.
And even yourself here at the Namibian Sun, you are also not exempted, because those people delivering the newspapers across the country, if you are not paying them nicely, they are coming to NARETU, and when they come to NARETU, you will be in trouble.
Petersen, thank you very much for coming.
Yes.
On the issue of the oil exploration and environment, tomorrow we are likely to have on the show, we have a tentative confirmation with the Minister of Environment and Tourism. We will ask him to give us an update on the environmental protection as far as that project is concerned. Hopefully he will come through and give us a reflection on that. But otherwise, thank you very much for coming, and all the best for your union.
Yeah, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. The sky is the limit, and the revolutionary spirit is well and alive.
Mpanto. That's it for tonight. Enjoy the remainder of your evening.